the fantasy, right? So yeah, it was created as a fantasy to staunch the movement of ACE. Here's this union that's not political in any way, but still still a group that has your best interest at heart. But we're going to charge you no fees, right? On paper, holy shit, yeah, this is great. I'm not going to sign with anybody else until I see this get solidified. That's why they did it, man. And then all of a sudden, it was an epic mistake, right? Because obviously, it was fruit from a poison tree. Right?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the ACE Pod, a production of the Association of Clovis Educators. Hey, there's a lot going on, and it's been a while since we've had an episode, and we're excited about this episode. We have an incredible guest. He's a really good friend of mine. He's my teaching partner. We teach the same subject at Clovis East High School. Our classrooms are right next to each other. We're personal friends. We've known each other for a really long time, and I think he has a unique perspective on the district. He has a unique experience. He's been around a really long time, and he was in faculty senate for a really long time, and he held kind of a really powerful position in faculty senate, and he had a really, really good reputation as a faculty senator, particularly at the Clovis East campus, but that reputation extended across the district. So my friend Jaime Arredondo joins us today for a pretty wide-ranging conversation about kind of his early years, his kind of coming to the district, and the kind of interesting particulars about that decision to come here, and then how much he really loves it here. I hope that it comes across to you as it did to me, how much he enjoys Clovis East, how much he enjoys working in our English department, how much he enjoys serving our Clovis East students, and then how much of his heart went into trying to be the best faculty senator and advocating for teachers. And the discussion today will kind of discuss all those things, and then ultimately end with a discussion about his decision, a really tough decision, to resign from the faculty senate. So without any further ado, now I guess I should mention, as you know, or if you know Jaime Arredondo, you know that he has a way with language, and sometimes that way is really colorful. So be prepared for full Jaime Arredondo here. Jaime, welcome to the ACE Pod.
Hey, about fucking time. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, too.
All right, so a little disclaimer here. This episode is probably going to have a few more F words than previous episodes. I've been keeping track thus far in our 12 episodes or so, and at this point we are at one total curse word. So
just now, huh? That was me. All right, well,
yeah, that was
breaking
you.
The ice.
Yes. So thanks a lot. So
that's how I naturally speak when I'm outside of work, and sometimes when I'm in work, but
hey,
never around students.
Cuss away, buddy.
Cool.
Yeah. So you've worked at Clovis East a long time.
I have.
Yeah.
Almost half my life.
Let's talk about, before we get there though, let's talk about how you got there. How'd you get to Clovis East?
How I got to Clovis East? Well, I mean, I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a little kid. I never wanted to be an astronaut or fireman or NFL football player. Ever since I remember 5 years old, whatever, whenever someone ever asked me what I wanted to be, it was always a teacher. This is my calling, as it were. I don't know, not just a job or a career. This is what I do and who I am. I did my student teaching long time ago at Clovis Unified, and would have been very happy to be working over there. As I was waiting, you have the job fair at the Selland Arena. Yeah, you familiar? And I was waiting in line for Yeah, I think it was selling the arena. Yeah.
Yeah. The big kind of, you do like the Hunger Games.
They all have booths and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All the yeah.
Just go around and interview a million times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm waiting in line for Fresno Unified. I have a slot open there, and a Latino guy comes up to me and is like, "Hey, have you interviewed for Clovis Unified?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Would you like to?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." I don't know if you know this, Jason, but at the time, Clovis had a bit of a reputation with.
I've heard. Yeah.
Okay. And my family right away, they have stories about things that have happened in their in their youth with Clovis. Anyways, so it was on my radar. I wanted to go where I as a Mexican American, as a Latino, I wanted to go somewhere where the population was high. Again, part of my calling. Right? And he asked again. He's like, "Well, why don't you come over? Why don't you interview?" I'm like, "No, you know what? I'm sorry, bud, but I got to get my head right for this." And then he finally said, "You know what? Look, why don't you just think of it as a practice? You come practice interview for Clovis Unified, and then you come do your real interview for Fresno Unified." I'm like, "You know what? I got 40 minutes to kill. Let's go do it." Right. So begrudgingly, I went to go interview for Clovis Unified. And I sat down across the table from a man by the name of Gabe Escalera, a great guy. At that time, I think he was principal of Gateway, I think. And we hit it off immediately. And he actually told me, he was like, "Look, you're going to be great wherever you go. And Clovis is going to offer you a job soon, I bet. And don't say yes right away. See what's out there. And I guarantee you're going to want to come back." So, and that's what happened. And I moved on to the next round of interviews. And that was, and I don't know what they do now, but that was when they had, those 7 interviews. And then, at the end, you sign your contract, you get your pen and with the superintendent and all that. I don't know if they still do that now, and that's what happened. And I don't know if it was strategic or not, but my first first one was Gabe Escalera. Then it was Loretta Aragon Lopez. And then Joe Hernandez, I think, was my, the third one. And little did I'm thinking like, wow, there's a lot of Latino administrators here in Clovis Unified. Little did I know, it was probably like 90% of them all, right, that I interviewed with. But I had a great interview after great interview, and here I am. They offered me a contract, I think, on my 4th interview, which is something that was rarely done at the time. And I did go back on my word with Gabe Escalera, and I accepted immediately. It was I had a good feeling about the people. I had a good feeling about the space. At the time, there was, I think, 28% Latino students at Clovis East High School. And I think there was only like maybe 2 or 3 Latino teachers, and they were all teaching math. Or not math, Spanish. And I think maybe 1 was teaching math. But so here I am, ready to get after it, as a young upstarter, wanting to make a difference.
Did you?
I kind of feel like I have over 20 years.
Yeah. So just before we get to your kind of time there, did you have to teach a lesson to the superintendent?
I did. There was an incoming and outgoing superintendent. So I got a 2-for-1 deal.
You got 2 superintendents?
I had 2 superintendents. I had the outgoing and incoming superintendent. And I can't remember. I think Dr. Buster was one.
Buster must have been the outgoing because he was.
Yeah.
I did my lesson for Buster. Yeah.
And then maybe I'm going to say Dr. Bradley.
Yeah, I think Bradley might have been the next one. Yeah.
Yes. Whoever it was, incoming, outgoing. But yeah, I got them both.
Yeah.
And so But I had already signed my contract, so
I know.
I was playing with house money. You know what I mean? It was fine after that. I was like,
and then did all the administrators travel with you to each?
No, not all of them. All of them traveled with me when I did area soup, which was Dr. Linda Hauser at the time.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think just Loretta went with me after that, and who was going to be my LD after that. So when I got a job, of course, she was my learning director. And then from there, I just was So, and I don't even remember Loretta in the interview room. She probably was, but man, when you're doing it, like you don't remember any sort of ancillary details. You're just like, okay, focus up. Let's do this. Let's, let's. It's a daunting thing, but
we're doing a little walk through the early years of Clovis East. So it was a really good. It was an interesting kind of administrative staff. I think they were an empowered administrative staff to
definitely
do innovative things and to actually do things. Loretta, I think of Loretta a lot. Like she was somebody who, wanted to kind of change the world, right? Had an activist heart and realized that, hey, we got to serve these kids in a different way. So kind of a pretty different time, I think, for site administrators back in the early 2000s, or at least at Clovis East. So, just full disclosure here, Jaime and I have known each other.
Oh, goodness. Since I've started, 20 years, right?
2003, 2002?
2002, I think.
Yeah, so 2002. I started 2000 at Clovis East, and, I went through the same sort of interview process that you went through mostly the same people. And did you interview with Jeff Eben?
I did interview with Jeff Eben. Yeah. And I got to tell you, this is when it locked it up for me. So I'm in the interview with Jeff Eben, and I don't know how much time we got here, but I'm in the interview with Jeff Eben, and he asked me this question, and essentially what it was is, if I help out a student, does it hurt like other students? Like, if I don't help them out in the same way. And I was adamant that, although I was consistent in my lesson plans and in my grading, that, if a kid had, on a case-by-case basis, if a kid had a problem, I was going to help them out, and I still do that to this day. And then, so, Jeff would keep on, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, he kept on egging me on, I want you to say the right answer here, pal. And then I was like, yeah, I am sure. And then he was like, okay, good. Like, yeah, that's how I wanted you to answer. Right. And so, and then Loretta chimes in and she was like, I was about to cut in right there. I was like, that was the right answer or whatever. And then he kind of looks at me aside and he's like, man, she's always on my fucking ass about shit. And so,
well, he deserved it a lot.
Yeah. And so, it was, from then on, I'm like, okay, you know what? I can work here,
Yeah.
There's something about, and you know me for a long time. I curse probably more than anybody, and there's just something about, as long as I don't know about cursing, your guard's down, right? Like, it's a very informal way. You're friends with somebody right away if they curse and you curse, and it's just, hey, do I care about you or do I really, really give a fuck about you? There's a heightened sense of emotion when I say it. And, I only curse around people that, that I trust and stuff. So, here we are.
All right.
But yeah, that's how I knew Clovis East was okay for me.
So, before we get to your time at Clovis East, you went to Fresno State, correct?
I did.
And then, are you local person?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Kerman Unified. It was about, 15 minutes west of Clovis and Fresno. Small ag town, but great place to grow up. Small town, although there was, only 3 places to eat. I grew up around some really good people, some really great teachers that cared about their job and cared about students. It was overall a really great experience. And I don't know if I had the same, street smarts as everyone else because of, I didn't grow up in a city, and definitely not around a lot of diverse people. There was, is predominantly Latino, some European American, and a little bit of Eastern Indian. But yeah, I didn't meet an African American person until I was in college. I only had seen them on TV, so not diverse in that way at all. But still, the people, like I never felt, like I was an outsider or anything like that. It was a great place to grow up. So, but yeah, and then, like Fresno State, my first 2 years, I just commuted, and then, I moved into the big city of Fresno, and then from then on, I was always with my buddies, joined a fraternity. So I've always been able to surround myself with good people. I've been lucky that way. Same thing with working at Clovis East. I've been extraordinarily lucky and blessed to be surrounded by great people that I spend my time with. Couldn't be happier about that.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Talk about what do you teach, and
All right. Well, I teach. I'm a English 11 PLC lead, and I have been for a while. I also teach AP language. I taught seniors for a little while too. I taught English 9. Goodness, I did my time on English 9. I maybe taught 12 years English 9. Honors, mainstream. So I've taught it all, I think, except English 10. For some reason, it just didn't work out. But for the most part, I've always told my administrator, I'll teach anything you put in front of me. Just give me a little bit of time, yeah, that's I've been teaching that. I've also another reason why I stuck with Clovis East. I did have other job offers. Was because they said, you know what, Loretta said, I want you to teach AP first year. So I've taught AP language all 20 years that I've
Wait,
been.
You started teaching AP your first year?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Wow.
They gave it to me, yeah. Or Loretta did anyways. I don't know how many people that pissed off. Had to piss off a few people.
Well, it was the early years, right? And there weren't a lot of us. And, I was teaching honors pretty quickly. And I think they were, I think they were really committed to creating something different that didn't operate under the same kind of, traditional rules of, the sites that they had come from. So
how far we've come, right?
Yeah.
Or how far back we've regressed, I think.
Yeah. The gravity of tradition, right? It pulls you in. So, I think we do a pretty good job as a department of, thinking about ways in which kind of spreading courses.
Oh, yeah. We have a great department.
Yeah.
Great department.
Yeah. Talk about that. Just talk about, you've been around for,
almost 20 years. Let's keep saying it. I know where a lot of bodies are buried.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of administrators come and go, right?
Oh, so many.
What's the LD count? 15 or 16 at this point?
Yeah. At 20 years, about 15. There was a stretch there, maybe my first 13 or 14 years, I had almost one a year. I think there was one doubled up.
Yeah.
And I've had a few. Shortest tenure was 2 weeks, and then from there maybe a half year. So I've had learning directors. I've had 2 in 1 year.
Yeah.
No. There's a revolving door, and it's. If I look now, how many area superintendents, principals, have cut some of have cut their teeth here at East, but that's the problem. And I go back and forth with it being good and bad, bad in a sense that, it's difficult to continue to prove yourself to new administration, right? As a teacher. It's negative in a sense that, your bearings are always, you have to get your bearings every time there's a new admin. And, you got to prove yourself all over. You got to deal with what their philosophies entail. But what that's forced us to do is to look to ourselves to get through tough times, right? You remember when we didn't have a fucking principal for half a year? Remember that?
Of course I remember.
Yeah, well, that's but you know what I mean? Where else could that happen? No way. No way
I
that
don't know.
happens.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about
No
that
way
a lot.
happens
But
anymore.
like, where would this happen other than Clovis East?
And you know, Josh and Aaron, they did a great job, you know, for filling in that role. But they did that, and they did their jobs,
Yeah.
right? And
Totally not
so,
fair for
of
them.
course, everyone that means more work for everyone at the administrative level. But what do? We look to each other, right? As teachers, we look to each other to support each other. You know, I think that byproduct is why we're so close knit. I don't know how many teachers want to like leave Clovis East when they get here, but I mean, we've had people work there longer than I have.
Yeah.
We've had people been there since they broke ground.
Yeah.
When it was called, what was that bullshit they were called before?
Clovis
Colony or
yeah,
something like that, right? Everyone thought,
Clovis Colony did not last very long. So.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I heard that, and this is just, I don't know if this is lore or what, but the sign Clovis Colony is up, but it costs too much money to tear down. So they just put the Clovis East sign. They stuck it on top of the Clovis Colony sign. So I don't know if that's true or not. But I need to take a closer look out there to see if there's that line in the concrete
in front of our office, sir.
Yeah, man. Who knows? That's just what I heard. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of shit. 20 years, you hear a lot of things.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I totally. Obviously, I was at Clovis East at the beginning. Then left for about a decade and came back.
Yeah, you left me for a while.
I did. But the department, the English department, I think you're right about kind of the revolving door of administrations really forced the department to kind of look inward and be cohesive, and have a kind of a leadership team that works really well together, and then has tried to build a team
right.
that is about kind of the team. So
correct.
Yeah,
and
so I guess
and that's the huge positive. And I got to tell you, that's gotten me through some very dark times. Mm-hmm. You know, especially in these last couple of years.
Yeah.
Having the support of not only the English PLC leads, but of the other teachers that are a part of our department that they're positive when I'm feeling, when I'm in a dark place, they bring me out of it. I've had the pleasure of being a mentor teacher to some of them when they were student teachers. So it's been a great experience to look forward to being with the people that you work with. All
right, just to say it one more time, it's been a great 20 years with these people.
It has been.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so at some point along that journey, you decided to poke your head out and become a little more like public in your.
I was doing so well for like 5, maybe 8 years, just flying under the radar.
Fly under the radar, do your job.
Didn't say anything in meetings. Yeah. Didn't talk to admin. Didn't ask questions. Just kept my head down and did my job.
There's something really like peaceful about that.
Oh, dude, yeah. Nobody bothers you.
Ignorance bliss.
And like all my problems were just my problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had been asked several times to be a faculty senator. I assume that's what you're talking about. Right?
Yeah. So obviously you got involved with the faculty senate. So
yeah, I did. And I had dodged it. I deflected those recruitments. Like, no, I'm too busy. Like, please, I think you'd be great. Finally, ultimately, I relented, and there's actually a reason why. And I, of course, I ain't gonna name any names. Their business is their business, right? But my department, three people were given the what do you want to call it? The Clovis push, or that where they get called into HR and they're like, hey, well, you could either leave and keep your credential, or you can stay and we're going to try to take it from you. And so they left. Of course, that's an impossible choice, right?
Yeah.
And, I'm going to say, I mean,
It's right. It's just not a choice.
yeah, and actually, I want to say it wasn't 3, it was like 4.
Yeah.
But 3 in my department alone within the span of like 2 years.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to say they didn't make their mistakes. They did, but like relatively minor ones.
These weren't like law.
No, these weren't like, like doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
These were just, they just pissed off too many people too many times.
Mistakes, yeah.
Right. And one person in particular made no mistakes at all. But she was forced between not only her credential, but also her daughter was a senior. And they said, well, okay, well, we're going to investigate. And when we investigate, you can no longer step on any sort of Clovis Unified grounds. And these things can take a year. So essentially, she would not be able to go to any of her daughter's functions, her graduations, anything at all. So, well, of course, she wanted to fight it. And then she heard that. And she was like, no, I'll just go somewhere else. We went from feel the love to feel the shove. You know what I mean? I remember Feel the Love with Jeff Eben. And they were shoving us out left and right.
Yeah.
It's easier to make problems go away than to fix them, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, I had said enough. These people had no one to go to. We did have faculty senators, but faculty senators that at the time were just, how do I say this? Just people that would go to a meeting to get information and then email us that information. You want someone, right, as a teacher, you want someone that when the shit hits the fan, someone's got your back, right? Even for whatever little power they got, you want someone to make you feel like everything's going to be okay. And that's the role I took, that's the role I took. And I get along with just about everyone I meet for the most part. And that's administrators too. So when I took on this role, I listened, I gave advice, and then I would walk with them to whatever meeting they had, and I would ask questions, and I would try to mitigate the problems they had. If I could help them, if not, I would say, I'm sorry, but you gotta figure something else out, But I've been through a lot, and I don't exactly know precisely how long my tenure was. I'm going to guess around 9 or 10 years, maybe less than that, maybe 8 or something. I don't know. It's been very long. It was part of who I was as a teacher and as an employee. I was the guy that people called when they needed help. And it was something that was a lot of work, and it took a lot of strength emotionally from me. It took time away from my family. But it was something that I felt was very important as my role here. And it was very, very difficult for me to walk away from.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, well, I was just going to say that, I also would like to say that in my time as a faculty senator, when I would talk to administrators, the vast, vast, vast majority were very cordial, very professional, treated me with respect. And, and who knows, if, COVID never would have hit, maybe I would have probably retired as a faculty senator, 20 years from now.
Right.
But, it was something that I had to walk away from.
So
unfortunate.
Before we get to that, just, so you talk with, you have a lot of pride about your stint as a faculty senator, and
I helped a lot of people. I feel like I helped a lot of people.
Yeah, and so you helped a lot of people. You built a lot of relationships, right?
You did.
Yeah. One thing I noticed right away coming back was just how kind of like the relationships that you had with administration were 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 tight, but also honest. I remember being in some pretty kind of tricky meetings where administrators that you had really good relationships with, that you were able to, be really frank and honest with them about kind of how they were screwing things up. So,
well, I'd always try to present them with all the facts. And,
yes.
And it was never like, this is my opinion. Like, it was always just from teachers talking to me about things, about the general sense of what the morale was like, about what issues were. I never went with my own agenda. And if I'm ever a representative in any sort of way again, it will never be my own agenda that I'm pushing. It will always be the voice of the people of a place that I've dedicated, much of my adult life to. I know that I did have administration's ear. I don't know if I have it anymore. I've had after wave of new administration. I know I had it. And it was a blessing to have it. It was a good relationship to have. And I know that I excelled and I succeeded in the way things were. I have a pretty good career. I got Educator of the Year at Clovis East. I got a Crystal Award. I've been on the news like 4 or 5 times for my canned food drive stuff that I do. I won district MVP one year, an award so prestigious that they never had it again.
The district MVP.
I've had a really great time, and administration would always stop and stop what they're doing and listen to me. But I also know that my experience is not everyone's experience, right? I know that people in the district do feel like they can't talk to anybody, that they are isolated, and that they are that they can't talk to their boss the way that the way that they would want to share their problems, right? So I know, even though like I have had, and I can tell you right now, I'm having a really great experience with all the people around me, including administration. I know that that's not that way everywhere. And you want to know how I know? It's because of Faculty Senate. Not only have I helped teachers, not only teachers, by the way, but teachers, clerical, instructional aides. They've all come to me at some point. And other faculty senators too, but I know from my experience that they've all come to me, and actually I'm not supposed to help them, but I always did, and to their credit, administration always let me. But again, I don't know if it's like that at every site, and I don't think it is, because I've heard people say, my principal, she won't listen. My learning director has it out for me. What do I do? What do I do?
Right.
And, for a long time, they tried Faculty Senate Executive Board until they couldn't, until, sorry to say, that not this president, but the president before would say stuff like, hey, you're lucky you kept your job, So he became an arm of the administration, and it's a shame. And I've seen him do some masterful things 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And he did a lot of things that helped the district out. But when it came time, when teachers were really hurting, I mean, I heard him say, like, I don't know if we're supposed to advocate. We're just supposed to give out information. Like, he said that in a meeting. Yeah. And I remember texting furiously, like, if we're not supposed to advocate, then what the hell are we doing? Right? Because that's all I've been doing. They could get the notes from somebody else. They can get the notes from whoever. But I'm supposed to advocate. I'm supposed to be the person that can say something to administration from a teacher, so that teacher does not get or feel like they're going to get, in trouble or whatever, But that whole situation, that turned out a little crazy too.
So, I mean, I think getting into kind of some of the weaknesses of faculty senate, I think you're touching on one here is that the way in which a particular individual like yourself might conceive the role at a site is not necessarily the way that faculty senate is perceived across the district at every other site, right? And then obviously kind of the executive board might not see it in the same way that you as well. Is that a fair characterization?
I think so. In elementary sites, they got it difficult, man, because at Clovis East and every high school, we get 4 senators, right? And so of course, we talk not about anything confidential, but we say like, hey, does this seem right? What's going on here? Hey, can you come with me? So it's not just me talking to the area soup or to the principal. Yeah, elementary school, they only got the one person, that's it.
Right.
They're on an island, man. All of them are. And so that, for them to have backup, they would need to reach out to the faculty senate executive board. And you know what? That's only as good as the person that has that role, right? Like that help directly correlates to how much that person cares about advocating for teachers.
How do you understand the executive board's role? What is it that they do?
Well, back when I was a part of it, and there was essentially what I thought, and I turned out to be a little wrong, but essentially what I thought was we represent teachers at our sites. We then voice our concerns to faculty senate executive board, and then they go to the top brass or whatever, right? And they say, hey, like, these are the problems. What can you do to fix them? Turns out that's how I thought. That's what it made sense to me, Turns out that I don't know if that was exactly what was happening. Maybe, but I didn't see a whole lot, change when we had some very real problems. So, but and now, I guess I'm sure they meet. I don't, I'm obviously not, I'm not a part of faculty senate anymore. I walked away. It was very difficult for me to do so, but I walked away, and I don't know. I think it just, I think now, we get a newsletter every month, every week, every Friday. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they talk about now.
What?
Actually, I do know what they talk about now. For a long, long time, all they did is talk about how to fucking get rid of ACE, right? That's all they talked about.
So, how do you explain that? That, like, we announced April 1st or April 5th, something like that. We went public, but they knew about us, prior to that, right? Your resignation is what was it, October-ish of this year?
Yeah, somewhere along those lines.
So last, March of 2021, when they had when Gowdy stepped down. And they had
when he resigned in disgrace.
Yes. All right. Yes. When he left, there was an election, right? So an election for a new president, a new vice president, right? Is that when Buettner?
Yeah. Well, if you recall correctly, Gowdy left, and then fucking there was 3 or 4 other executive board members left, right? Remember that?
Yes.
Vice president, secretary, I think. I think the only one that stayed was the sergeant at arms. I don't remember her name right out of the gate.
Sergeant at arms?
Or something. No, it's not a sergeant. It's called something though. They do the rules, the Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, all right. Oh, yeah.
What is that called?
I forget, but
yeah, all right.
I know it's all right.
I'll remember at 3 a.m.
Yes. Dang it. The parliamentarian.
Parliamentarian.
I got it. Yes.
Good job, buddy. Yeah, second sergeant at arms. Nice something. Those are from my fraternity, huh? My fraternity days.
Yeah.
That's probably where I got that from. Sorry.
But I mean, that election, they were already like hyper focused on ACE, and
oh yeah,
right, and like remember there was the whole they wanted to ask the question about whether you supported a union or not.
Oh yeah, it was very ugly, is what it was. I was asked to run by upper admin. I was asked to run as
Can we just stop right there? What does that indicate to you about the relationship between administration and faculty senate?
Well, I mean, I took it as hey, you got a good head on your shoulders. Let's try to right the ship here. But essentially, yeah, they want to put people they have a good relationship with, right? And sure, I have a good relationship, but I got to tell you right now, make no mistake of fucking about it. I am a teacher's teacher, 100%, and no one could ever say anything different. I swear, and I'll continue to be one. But yeah, I am a teacher's teacher, regardless of who put me in what position or suggested or whatever. No. I know where I'm. I know where I am. I know what I'm about. So I mean, but I didn't. Largely because I knew it was a sinking ship. I probably still would have been on it. I'm kind of dumb that way, loyal wise, but I knew it was a sinking ship. I did not run. I think I don't know. Maybe I would have gotten a position. Maybe I wouldn't have. I know that I was very vocal at every meeting, and I was a vehement advocate on the part of teachers. And I know that a lot of faculty senators reached out to me, thanking me for my voice in regards to that. I was in a supportive role in the new sort of executive board, or at least the president. I was at the time a very big supporter, but that went south.
So just back to this question, what do you attribute to just their hyper focus on ACE? Why not just be?
I don't know, man, but like I said, I told you I was a big supporter, and the fuck it is, Stacey, right? Stacey, the president now, and I was a big supporter.
Yeah, we don't need to tiptoe around that name.
Yeah, I was a big supporter
president
of her tenure, right out of the gate. She was organized and, supportive, and she was going to retire in a couple years, so she could establish everything. And then, we put some more good people in there, to kind of continue that. But I mean, I got to tell you, man, like, I was pretty good friends with her, or at least I was very friendly with her. Me and another, faculty senate rep at our site, who was also very friendly with her, we pulled her in and we were like, hey, it's not your job to disparage other employee organizations. Just do what your job is, which is to be a faculty senate president. There is no need for you to, talk trash about ACE, say, they're fucking lying about this, or to say, that they're going against Doc Buchanan, or just all kinds of, shit, just to paint you guys in a negative light, right? And we're like, you don't need to do that. Let somebody else do that. But you're a president. You should be above all that.
Right.
Concentrate on your job, and then everything else will sort itself out. But no, I mean, she, as well as I did, she kept going. Every opportunity she had, she tried. She tried to say something disparaging, which is unfortunate. Because at the time, I didn't think that she was, that it didn't fit her personality, the negativity. But, again.
Yeah, so fast forward 10 months, right? 10 months of them not being able to get out of their own way and just hyper-focused on what they're doing, right? And then we have this, the debacle of the announcement of the CTO, right? The Faculty Senate, Clovis Teachers Organization, which gets us to like your resignation. And
correct. So I missed the meeting. That agenda item was buried at the very bottom, and it just said employee groups or whatever on the agenda, right? So I looked at the agenda. I got an absolute fucking tornado of a dog, right? His name is Lincoln. He's half Weimaraner, half Labrador, 100%.
Yeah, stop you right there. Your dog is precious.
Oh my God. No, this dog is a fucking monster. Anyways, you're only with him at like freaking 10 minutes total, dude. He's a monster. Anyways, so I do, like, my family would call me crazy, but I pay hundreds of dollars to get a freaking personal trainer to come calm his ass down, right? Here's some tips, here's some tricks. This is what you do this at home. I was doing fucking homework to make sure this dog could, that we weren't always at odds with this dog.
Did it work?
Anyway, no, God, no. He's still awful. He's still awful. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm just hoping, once he hits like a year or a year and a half that he comes out. Anyways, I don't want to digress too much, but so the first time the personal trainer came, that was the Faculty Senate meeting. So I want to stay. I look at the agenda. There's nothing big. I can miss like one meeting a year. I haven't even missed one in like 4 or 5 years or whatever. So I'm like, okay, hey, you guys, I tell the rest of the team, hey, you guys take some notes for me or whatever. Then, my phone's just blowing up. Text message after text message, alert after alert. Like, they're voting to disband Faculty Senate. They're going to instill CTO. I'm like, what the hell is CTO? Clovis Teachers Organization, right? So I'm like, wait, what? So I am completely taken aback. I immediately want to call for a meeting with Stacy. I'm like, Stacy, what's going on, right? Why aren't we able to talk to our side about this first? And so first she doesn't want to meet. Like I'll say, I only want to meet with you and maybe Erica Robinson. I know them, right? I know them. I met with them. They know my heart. At the time, I thought they knew my heart. And I don't know the other new executive board. And so she doesn't want to meet with us. It takes some cajoling, we'll say. She finally does. And I was like, look, all I want is time. Let me take it back to my site. Let's talk about it. And then, part of the argument was, well, you're a representative of your site. So you don't need to go back to them to vote to disband Faculty Senate and to instill CTO. I'm like, they voted me in as a representative of Faculty Senate and the very thing you want to, dissolve. Like, of course I need to talk to them about it. Of course I do. It's crazy. And I got to tell you, fucking side note here. I got to fucking tell you here, pal, the fact that 90% of faculty senators voted to dissolve Faculty Senate just because it wasn't ACE shows you how far away they've come from the original vision of what it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? They voted not to build something better. They voted to tear something down. Yeah. And that's fucking awful, man.
Yeah, I mean, just as obviously I'm not an objective observer. I'm part of ACE, but just as someone outside of Faculty Senate, if you're telling me that my faculty senators are here, a pretty significant decision, like sight unseen, no details, and you just vote for it without,
with no information.
No information.
No information. No follow up. Like, how are we going to sustain it? Right? Where's the money coming from?
How does anybody have faith in that organization?
It was insane.
Yeah.
So I tell her, all I want is time. Let me take it back to my site. Right? Let me take it back to my site. Let me talk to them about it. Let me get a fucking vote. Something, man. And she said, that sounds reasonable. Let me go back and talk to the other executive. Not 14 hours later, their two teachers are collecting signatures for CTO at our site. I get an email saying, hey, we're collecting signatures for CTO. And, I resign a half hour later because I was lied to. She said that it seemed reasonable. We could have more time. And there's no one that's ever going to tell me that wasn't already in place. Like, I won't believe it. Like, of course it was in place that they were going to collect those signatures at the time when she was meeting with us.
Right.
I was heartbroken, and it was a very tough decision because it was something that I had put so much effort into it.
Yeah.
I was a faculty senator with my whole heart. And, and I walked away from it. But I could not be a part of an organization that made decisions like that in that way. I could not be a part of an organization whose leadership was misleading in that way. So I walked away. And it's still a tough decision.
Yeah.
It was not an easy decision for me. You saw me, man. I was outside.
I totally did, yeah.
I was, I'm not saying like I'm a typical like man's man, but I could. I'm not like always an emotional guy or whatever. But yeah, man, I got emotional after I sent that email.
Yeah,
because I felt like I was letting a lot of people down.
Yeah,
people that had trusted me over the last during my tenure as a representative.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was, but again, and this is how much I fucking love this site. Several teachers reached out and said, I know that was tough for you, but we support you and thank you for all that you've done. Again, that's my site. You know what I mean? That's why I love them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you had an impact. You talked about it earlier, how much you invested into the people at Clovis East. We know it meant a lot to you. And I mean, I saw you that day, so I know how that decision affected you. But also I saw the conviction in which you made it, right? That it was the right decision. And, and then a week later, right? I mean, you're just, and I think the goof, right? Bill Buettner's words that we goofed, which just means they didn't do their homework. And I think that is just like an indication that, right, you made the right choice. It's not, had I waited another week, it would have gone away. And
right.
Okay, it's like, this is an organization that is in, a really kind of bad place, and they've decided to be against something as opposed to be for something.
Correct.
And you definitely operate in the world as being for stuff, and not against stuff. So, although
it was
hard.
And to at the last faculty senate meeting, we get these notes, right? And people are still asking about it because obviously it looks terrible, right? Like to say, hey, we're doing this, and we made this vote, and not anymore, and shit. Now they're doing something else, right? And like in the meeting notes, somebody asked, like, hey, why weren't we given time to discuss CTO? Maybe if we would have been given time, we could have did it the right way. And on those, in that meeting, and gosh, man, I just was so pissed about this. In those meeting notes, it said senators had time to go back to their sites to discuss it. And oh my gosh, I was so upset because no, we didn't. That is the whole point. That is the entire point of why I resigned. And so, and they're always quick to point out, well, Ace is lying about this, and what else are they lying about? All that bullshit or whatever that they've done before. That is 100% without a doubt a lie. That is what they wrote down on those agenda notes was 100% a lie because I resigned over that.
Right.
So I know. Yeah. And I wrote a scathing email to them. I never sent it. But I wrote I got it out, and then what am I going to do here? Well, what is this going to achieve for me if I send this email saying, you guys were, this is the reason I resigned, and how dare you say that you gave us time when you didn't, and why are you guys lying? But what are they going to do? What are they going to say? Like, well, we thought that was ample time or whatever. It was 3 days from the meeting to the signatures, so that's time. They're going to make up whatever narrative that makes them like seem like they're doing the right thing,
right?
But really, it's fucking trash. So.
Okay, I got a question for you, but before I do, I want to say that Faculty Senate, particularly the president, has claimed that we've told several lies on our Facebook and at several other places, and this will be the one and only time I've cussed. But yeah, it's all fucking bullshit. We have not lied once. Just thought I should say that publicly out loud. Have you ever got a rationale? Did they ever explain to you why they wanted CTO, or do you have a theory as to why they wanted to create CTO?
No, I mean, they created CTO as a fantasy, right, to staunch the ACE movement, right? Like, hey, here is this thing. Here is this organization. It's not a union for people that hate unions. It is, the money's going to come from, and Stacey Shiro said, and fucking unbelievably, she said, I was like, where's the money going to come from, Stacey? When I'm talking to her about CTO, she's like, oh, private donor.
Yeah.
I was like, in perpetuity? Forever? A private donor forever? And she was like, well, I still got to talk to them about it. But yeah, I'm like, oh, fuck, what? So, again, a fantasy, right? So yeah, it was created as a fantasy to staunch the movement of ACE.
Right.
Here's this union that's, not political in any way, but still still a group that has your best interest at heart, but we're going to charge you no fees, right? On paper, holy shit, yeah, this is great. I'm not going to sign with anybody else until I see this get solidified. That's why they did it, man. And then all of a sudden, it was an epic mistake, right? Because obviously it was fruit from a poison tree, right? Because,
just not to get too far into the weeds of the legal issue here, right? But, it's illegal for an employee group to take money from the employer.
Right.
And they realized, and it wasn't because ACE filed charges, which obviously we did because it was a labor violation, but if they had conviction about their choice, they would have just plugged on. But they realized that they were breaking the law as an employee group that takes funding from the district. That CTO would then be a further kind of a doubling down of that illegal kind of relationship that they have with the district. So they goofed, and they kind of admitted it while they blamed ACE, but they goofed and they had to backtrack. And then, hey, these folks have a few folks have decided to organize and create a union. They are creating a union. Goyette/IQ is a union with collective bargaining rights.
And dues, right? And all the other things that a union has.
They have to pay for stuff. They can negotiate in the contract with the district that the district provides release time and stuff like that. And as far as I understand the law, that they still have to pay for that release time. They just get to negotiate. It's not like the district gives them that for free. They still have to pay for it. So you're going to have dues and so on and so on. So we'll see what comes of Goyette/IQ, but
well, I mean, didn't they say they were confident they'd have all the signatures before Christmas break or something like that? Or am I crazy?
Well,
I don't know. Did they say that, or am I? Did I imagine
they said that their goal was?
Oh, was that their goal?
December 17th.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it since.
Listen, there was a deafening silence this week from them, and who knows? I mean, who knows? I think there's some good people that work on that with that group, and I think they're competent people, and I think they're probably working from kind of the right intention.
I mean, in any case, right? Like the Clovis Unified that existed, 2 years ago, it will no longer exist. It'll be a new Clovis Unified.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's a done deal. It's just, I mean, it's an epic sort of, change.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be historic for the district, and I mean, I think we've already seen kind of historic changes, and I think people are kind of normalizing the idea of unions and employee groups, and the fact that faculty senate wanted to become the exclusive employee group with collective bargaining rights. When we first launched, we kind of experienced all sorts of harangues from people, and we were destroying docs charge and so on and so on. Despite having people who taught here dedicated their entire lives,
right?
Entire families have dedicated and gone through these
legacies, right? Legacies of people.
Yeah. Yeah, these are. I mean, obviously, I'm not objective. I'll keep saying that, but these are people that are dedicated to this district, that have kids in this district, that graduated from this district.
Mm-hmm.
They're devoted to this district and the students of this district. So to hear those harangues was tough, but we knew it was coming. But Doc's charge, right, is like it's a document of real common sense ideas about educating kids and a fair break for all kids and all that stuff. The one thing that we griped about was the one line about we don't believe in collective bargaining, and now apparently everybody believes in collective bargaining, right? Believes that we should have that right. So
right.
That's a historic change, and that's a movement for us, and we feel proud about kind of moving the culture in that direction. So I mean, just in terms of direction, I guess where do you think we go from here?
Well, I mean, no less than a battle for the soul of the district, right? Between ACE and IQ. I hate saying IQ because, I mean, they know there's a business, right? Called IQ. I mean, my sister-in-law works for IQ Vision.
That's where
anyways, it sounds so weird for me to say it. But yeah, I mean, what is it? What does the I stand for? Independent Clovis
Unified
Educators.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's where we go, right? We go from, and, at some point, these people that are on the fence are going to have to choose. I mean, we need an employee group. We need representation. It's going to be between ACE and IQ. It's going to be between, us being backed by, a group of dedicated professional lawyers that know California inside and out, or I don't know, some people that that I don't know how they were found, to be honest. That they work out of state, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're based out of state.
That might be right. I mean, they have they represented some some school districts in California, but
okay, all right.
But I mean, in terms of a kind of robust apparatus that knows California labor law and ed code, and like the CTA is an organization. They're not a profit-seeking group, and I mean, I'm assuming Goya.
And this group for the lawyer group from IQs are profit-seeking.
Well, they're lawyers.
For profit.
They're lawyers, and it's a law firm. So,
okay. So yes, then yes.
It's a business, right? It's not.
Okay.
It's not a lobbying firm or a statewide.
So unfortunately, all this really boils down to is politics, right?
Yeah.
is whether or not people can handle, the being affiliated with CTA because of politics, which is, I don't know, I guess what it boils down to more often than not in a lot of things over the past 2 years. Unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. So, and
unfortunate that teachers would allow politics to, to encroach in on, whatever. I mean, I guess they'd say the same. Both sides would say the same thing, right? You're allowing politics to dictate this and all that. But, I guess I'd always try to pick the side that has more experience, that is more established, and I mean, all in all, you could choose not to have any of your money go to anything political, right?
Well, right. And that's like, what do you get for your dues? An organization that not affiliated with CTA, what you're going to get with your dues is a bit nebulous. That's not true with CTA. CTA, you get an organization that's worked on behalf of California teachers for several decades. You get the liability insurance. You get training. Your site reps. Like how many times were you trained as a faculty senate site rep?
I was trained no times as a faculty senate site rep.
Like
0 times.
0.
0 times. Not one time was I ever trained as a representative.
So
it was a whole learn as you go.
No conflict resolution.
No shit, man, bro. We're when I left, we were working on updating the bylaws because they were so ambiguous and freaking old.
Yeah.
I think they were talking about like in the bylaws, like you need to like type out the notes of the meeting and then put them in everyone's mailbox. Like that's the last time those things were updated. It was before emails.
Gosh.
So, right. I mean, it's been a minute.
Right.
Is what I'm saying, I guess.
So yeah, and then you get a lot of bang for your buck with CTA, and there are folks that have misgivings about kind of the politics or the perceived politics of CTA. Now, unions themselves, local unions, are nonpartisan organizations. Obviously, up and down California, you have unions in places like San Francisco that are very liberal, but you also have unions in Orange County and very kind of red districts. So, and you have very active kind of Republican members of unions. So, and your dues, as you brought up, you can make sure that your dues don't go to kind of political donations and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I see that as, that's I don't know, I guess. And for those people that have those qualms, I think that's, I don't know, a good a good out or whatever, I guess,
And running a union, starting a union, and then obviously running a union is a bureaucratic and legal process, and it takes work, but it also takes help, and you need help from people who know what they're doing and have done it. And like you can say you can say what you want about CTA, but they know how to kind of run a union. So they know how to set up unions. They know how to help local unions. You get a dedicated lawyer for your local union. And not just a lawyer on retainer, which is what I think we would get with Goyette. So, but we'll see, right? I mean, we haven't heard much from that other group, so we'll see if they're players. I mean, it might come down to a choice between ace and nothing.
Who knows, right?
Or really kind of a really like bare bones faculty senate.
That only hurts teachers.
Yeah, only hurts teachers. That actually brings up a question that I struggle with. Why do you think? And we're going into like Joe Rogan long form podcast time here, but why do you think faculty senate leadership is so opposed to including like psychs and counselors in the employee organization? Why is
I have no idea. I don't know. I remember, because like I said before, I've always helped out whoever came to me, right? Whether it was instructional aides, clerical, whoever. And then there was a very, very precise email at the beginning of this year saying, you are only, like, not just to me, but to every faculty center, you are only here to help. You only help teachers. Like, that's it. That's who you serve. You are not, if anyone else needs help, you direct them to Cubs or whatever. It was just out of the blue, but like, I thought it was just so odd because, I mean, it's called Faculty Senate, right? That's everyone. To me, that was always everyone. No, it wasn't not called Teacher Senate. So I don't know. I find it odd as well. And maybe they feel like some of those employees don't share the staunch vision that they have, right? That that Faculty Senate is and should be the only, representative group. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. As far as why, people might be like just hesitant, for change anyways, like, and I'll hurry up. I know we're taking a while here, but, you ever been to like the fair, Fresno Fair, or to a carnival when you were a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure. So they have these games, right, where you can win a goldfish, right? Ping pong ball, you throw it in there, you win a goldfish. I won a goldfish when I was like 12. Yeah. And I kept this goldfish, had a little aquarium, and as 12-year-olds might do, completely messed up on my responsibilities, right? This damn goldfish, the water, like a couple months later, was all brown, was all messed up, right? And the fish was alive, just breathing in all this fucking just gunk and terrible stuff. And I was like, oh man, I feel bad. So, I scoop them out, freaking clean everything up and fill it with good water and, clean all the rocks, put everything in, put the goldfish in. And then died because of the shock, right? It was so used to the freaking toxic environment that it had been a part of that finally when it had a good environment, when it was a healthy environment, it was so shocking to them and he didn't know what to do. It was too much for him. And all I can say, for those employees that are a little apprehensive about the change that's going to come, we have more resolve than a goldfish, right? Right now, you don't know it yet, but like I said, my experience is a good one. Maybe their experience was a good one. Maybe they've found success here in this district, but that's not everywhere and that's not everyone. We need to help people that don't have the same experience that we do. Good people, good employees that are just in bad situations. Yeah. And you don't realize it yet, but for a long time, we've kind of been swimming in unclean water. And pretty soon, I hope, we'll be in an environment that's healthy for us, right? And I like to say that I don't think we're going to die from shock. I think we're going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, and like I said, we're stronger than goldfish. We're going to be just fine. It ain't going to be that much of a shock. But right now that we're like, we're in it and we don't even see it, right. Because all of our experiences are just like our own experience, right? It's only what we, and so oh no, I'm great. My admin's great and the people are great. It's not everywhere. It's not everyone. Yeah. So realize that a lot of this is for them. So everyone can have the positive experience that those people have. So that's why I think people are hesitant.
And that's why people should sign the union support petition for ACE.
Correct. Right. I think that is something, that needs to be, hey, you can't just sit back and let this stuff happen. You got to be involved for the people that can't you know, that can't do it themselves, right? You got to be involved. You got to do it for them. You got to absolutely help those people out. You know, so yes, sign the petition, get involved, and make a difference for the better. Because I think, and I hope that that's where we're going. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I think you know me, and you know a lot of folks involved in ACE, and you know we're here for the right reasons, right?
Of course.
That we can work. We see this as a push for a better partnership with administration. This is not something we're working for to be in opposition. This is trying to move this district forward. A lot of great things about this district, and a lot of things that as your murky water goldfish story talked about. A lot of things that need some cleaning up, some filtering. So
sure, I mean, I like I said, I've always been a good person. I've always been willing to help. I've always been willing to listen to people. Just because I support ACEs doesn't mean I automatically turn into some fucking asshole or anything, right? It's still me.
Right.
Even with administration, it's still me.
Yeah.
I've always been grounded and pragmatic and said, okay, look, I understand these problems. It's still going to be me, whether, I help out with whatever, if I ever become a representative or whatever my future holds. I have not fundamentally changed at all. Right. It's just, I want the district to be a better place. That's it. Yeah. That's it. And I think we can be.
I think so too. Hey, let's end talk about kids a little bit. Just real brief. What is it about working with high school students, particularly at Clovis East, that you enjoy so much?
These guys, like I mentioned earlier, it was a shameless plug. I'm part of the Camp Food Drive. Every year. I started it when I was, I think, maybe 19 years ago. I think maybe 20 years ago, maybe my second year, right? And, we got a lot of kids on free and reduced lunch. We got a lot of kids that hurt, but year in and year out, these kids continue to amaze me with how much they give during this Camp Food Drive. Like we're talking 60,000, 50,000, 70,000 units of food, just trucks and trucks and trucks of food. It's amazing. And I think like that kind of shows like who we are, if you look at us on paper, we don't score as high as well as some of our other sister schools, right? On like state testing and all that stuff. But man, we're really connected to each other. We're really connected to the community. And we genuinely give a shit about other people. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I love about these kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think, I don't know. I wouldn't want to work anywhere else. Yeah. And it's because of the people I work with and the people I work for. I work for those kids and I work with you all. Yeah. Not to say I'm never frustrated with them. Of course I am, especially come, finals time and touchdown time.
Those damn 12th graders too at the end of the.
I'm parent of a 12th grader, so geez.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I know firsthand. They're a great group of kids that have come up, given with both hands, that have made really great connections with each other, that try their best when they can, and it's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, those are the kids at East, Yeah. Good people, and if I could choose, whether they would be, on the top of the scoring in, ELA and mathematics, or if I could choose whether or not they would just be good people that care about each other, it'd always be the second one, man. Yeah. It always would be the second. Those are the kids that make the world a better place. The ones that are good people and that care about each other. And that's what it is like at Clovis East, for sure.
Yeah, I will second that. Our kids are fucking awesome. They're great.
They really are.
We love them. All right, buddy. I don't think we fought once.
What? No, no.
We
Well,
argued.
We didn't talk about any lit stuff. So
That's true. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for yours.
Yeah, this went long, man. This might be. I know you don't like Quentin Tarantino, but this might be a Kill Bill situation where you do one podcast.
Part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, there's gonna be a part 1 and part 2. So.
Yeah. Well,
see how it works out, man. I trust you.
Remember those like 70s and 80s sitcoms where you were 20 minutes in and you knew they weren't going to finish?
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, we're not going to find out who the killer is in 4 minutes.
Yes.
And then you were like, damn, to be continued.
Yeah.
That was back when you had to wait a whole week to watch the next next episode or something.
That's the worst. Yeah.
The struggle is real.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, bud.
All right. Thank you.
Good talk.
All of us here at the Ace Pod want to thank Jaime for joining us. That was just a great discussion. I think there's a lot in there to unpack and a lot to think about and a lot that we all have to reflect on about where we go as a district and how we make this district the best possible district it can be. So please join us next time on the Ace Pod, and in the interim, please join us on our social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at Clovis Educators. Also, you can go to our website at www.cloviseducators.org. We recognize that right now it's a wild time out there, so take care of yourselves, take care of your families, take care of your students, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the Ace Pod.